What's good, everybody? Welcome to LaFlare Radio episode 6. Took a week off last week to recalibrate and think of some ways that we could bring you a better product. One of the things that we're going to do now is break up the show into a sports section and a hip-hop section so that you can listen to more of what you want to listen to. Maybe you're not interested in the music part or not interested in the sports part so much, or maybe you just don't want to listen to the whole thing all at once. We're going to take care of that for you. We're going to start off today with sports. BT LaFlare here with my partners as usual, Hot Rod.
What's good?
And Dee Greatest.
Yes, sir.
Starting off with NBA teams, I want to hear from you guys, my two NBA experts. Talk a little bit about your biggest surprise team of the year so far and your biggest disappointment team. Dee Greatest, we'll start off with you.
All right, let me start off with my surprise team, and it should be everybody's surprise team. That is the Orlando Magic, and good God, I did not see this coming.
Nobody did.
Man, I had these fools going last. I was begging Frank to get up out of there because I care about him. But hey, he told me, relax, I got this. And look at Orlando now. They are second in the league in scoring with almost 117 points per game. Point differential is 9. You know, they right in between Golden State, the champs, and Brooklyn. Wow. Anyways, going to the Magic, man, they have 3 players averaging over 20 a game. Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon, and Vucevic, who I always tell people is the most underrated center in the league, and it's not even close. Aaron Gordon is leading the way over here with his 25.4 PER, leading the team, 21 points per game, 9 rebounds. Aaron has a chance to be the power forward of the East, for real. And I said this in NBA news and debates. Shout outs to them. And I got killed for it because everybody was talking about Porzingis. But let me tell you something, man. If you cannot win, you're not getting this consideration from me. Orlando, they look like they made the jump. They play like they're going to the playoffs. The Knicks, we don't know. At the same time, just looking player to player, of course, Porzingis has been killing it this season. I'm not taking anything away from him. But looking at Aaron, man, he's been playing like a true pro. His defense is already by far better than Porzingis'. Like, that's not even close. But even thinking about him offensively, like, he is shooting lights out, very, very efficient from the field, 55%, 59% from 3. We know that's going to go down because this is still Aaron Gordon we're talking about. But, hey, respect the kid, man. Respect the work he put over the summer. Respect Evan Fournier with his 55% from 3. If you roll over, is really 56. Vucevic is shooting 40% from 3 himself. Jonathan Simmons, man, the Spurs, I don't know why you let this man go. He is really making a name for himself in Orlando, of all places. So shout outs to him for his grind. Man, Orlando, they are really looking to make a name this year. And the way that they've been playing, I feel like it's not going to stop anytime soon. My disappointment team, it's not really disappointment to me because I've seen this coming, but nobody believed me. Everybody was tweaking, talking about, oh, you don't respect them. This is still LeBron James we're talking about here. And yeah, let's go to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, the new best point guard in the league, LeBron James. First of all, don't insult my intelligence. LeBron has been the point guard for this team for the longest. He was the point guard of Miami. You're not getting anything from me, LeBron. You've been doing this. You've been the leader. You've been the main facilitator. You're not doing anything new, except losing. I haven't seen this from you in a long time, my man. Like, Cleveland looks bad for a lot of reasons why I thought. Number one, they need a real center. They need help defending. I mean, this defense is just straight up trash. They are giving up 110 points per game. Their point differential is 5.4 in the negative. Come on now. Kevin Love is rebounding. Fantastic. He's also getting, well, he's not even getting half a block a game. We know this is going to happen, but come on. You're not going to get away with this. This is definitely not a title. They're not playing like a title contender. The way that they fell off since the Derrick Rose injury is mind-boggling to me. You should have seen this coming. You can't have an injury-prone point guard be your replacement for your already injured point guard. You really expect them to last these couple months? This man just sprained the ankle and he lost 4 games. Come on now. And it's not like he's been excellent. I mean, he's been okay-ish. But really, 2 assists, less than 15 PER, which is league average, 13 points per game. Like, nah, man. Y'all should have got it together. The best thing they did was put Dwayne Wade in the bench like I told them to, because as a starter, he's been trash. And they put in a new starter who's been trash. JR, what are you pounding about? What is your excuse for playing like crap now? You got your starting to get back, and you still ain't doing nothing with it? You know what? Honestly, I feel like you need to go right back on the bench. I would start Iman Shumpert personally. Now, a lot of people are saying Kyle Korver has been playing well off the bench and he's been shooting lights out. Absolutely. And to me, he probably should get the most shooting guard minutes. At the same time, you already got enough defensive issues. Do you really want to give Kyle Korver extended time? I don't think so. Hey, I know it's early in the season, but at the same time, people were making it seem like I wasn't going to be seeing these type of issues at all, and their offense is just going to go crazy. And nah, that's not the case at all, man. It's mediocre at 104 points a game. This is not the Cleveland that y'all thought y'all were going to see. This is the Cleveland that I knew I was going to see. BT, you got any thoughts about your team?
Hey, you already know I had to chime in a little bit. You talking about my Cavs like that. It is disappointing, and I can't say that I expected it to happen, but you're right. I mean, relying on probably the most injury-prone player in the league to step in and be your starting point guard in the absence of IT, which is a serious amount of time that he would have to fill that role, not the smartest idea. And then I was saying the entire offseason that they needed a center. You are so right about that. Tristan Thompson, I was saying he was the most overrated player in the league 2 years ago. That man is soft. He can get some rebounds. He's one of the better rebounders in the league, sure, but what else can he do? Nothing. So that's disappointing to me. But one thing that I definitely want to point out is the fact that this team has 8 brand new players that haven't played together on that team. That's more than half the team is brand new. So it's going to take them some time to get used to each other and play well together. I saw that they had an air it all out kind of meeting yesterday, and they all felt pretty good about it. They felt like they got all their emotions out on the table, and, that's good. We'll see if it translates to the court. But one thing I want to ask you guys, I was going to save it for later. Jahlil Okafor is looking to get out of Philadelphia. Would he be a good fit for Cleveland? Would that be a good move for them to maybe try to deal Shumpert or somebody, go out and get him?
Absolutely not. Did you not hear me when I said they need a defense? Jahlil Okafor, all he's going to do is kind of just be a black hole and take touches away from the best ball mover in the game. He's not going to help.
He's a big body, though.
Yeah, big body of nothing. He's not even an aggressive rebounder. No, okay, let me be nice about Jahlil. He is from the area, and look, Jahlil is cool.
You don't got to patronize him, If he's trash, he's trash. But
he's not trash. He's in the wrong position because he's in a place that he never wanted to be from in the beginning. And you pointed that out. But at the same time, he's not a fit for Cleveland. Like he's not a fit for Philly, Boston.
So where should he
Atlanta.
go then?
I would not be surprised if he went to the Spurs.
Oh,
Spurs.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
definitely
the
fit.
Spurs would bring out the most in him.
And they gonna rob. They would rob Philly.
Oh, yeah.
They would rob Philly.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. But
Well-
with the Cavs, I feel like even if they were 0-7, I wouldn't even be worried about them. All they need is a seed in the playoffs, whether it's 1 or 8, doesn't matter. They're going to cakewalk to the finals. They have the best player in the league when it comes to playoff time. But
I don't know
Let's
about
get to-
cakewalk.
let's get to my surprises and disappointments. I have 2 surprises, a 1A and a 1B. 1A, I have Memphis Grizzlies because I had them finishing 10th in the West during our pre-show, and they're surprising me because they're number 1 in the West. At 5-2, they've beaten the Warriors. They've beaten good teams. They had those regular season losses to like teams they shouldn't lose to, but they'll figure it out later on in the season. But at 5-2 and leading the West, that's my surprising team. And then my 1B team is the Boston Celtics, only because of the Gordon Hayward injury. Most teams losing a player of his caliber wouldn't tank the season, but it would ruin their season. But they started out 0-2. They lost the first game without him, and they haven't lost since. They're 5-2 and leading the East. So they're my surprising team due to the fact that how quickly they can rally around an injury like that. And then my disappointing team is my team, the Miami Heat, solely on record. They're 2-4, third to last in the East right now. They're missing their best player, Hassan Whiteside, who's been out since the first game, which is a huge part in why they're 2-4. But playing wise, I've watched a couple of their games. They've played well. They just haven't played well enough to win. They lost to the Magic, who DG said is his surprise team of the season so far. And their other losses are to teams that are understandably losses, like the Spurs, the Celtics, and the T-Wolves. So I think they'll pick it back up. But as of right now, at this point in the season, they're my disappointment.
Let's move it over to our early look at MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Most Improved Player. Starting with MVP, Porzingis getting a little bit of the conversation. Cantor said that he definitely should be in the conversation. A lot of people would refute that. But Giannis and Blake Griffin, those are my 2 front runners. I want to hear from you guys. Who's really sticking out for you?
I agree with you. I'm just gonna kill Ennis Cancer real quick. 1 second. Who wants to be right for me? What seed is the New York Knicks right now?
9th.
Correct. You're not MVP. Goodbye. Anyway, let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know I've said it wrong, just like everybody else. I don't care. The Greek Freak is on a mission, and I was waving my pom poms about the Bucks well before the season started. I did it on the season review. I knew Giannis was just gonna be spectacular, but goodness, I didn't expect this. Man, shout outs to Giannis, man, because he is competition. He is competition in the East. That is what I love about Giannis. He is not a cakewalk to the finals like how you guys are saying. Well, Rob mostly, because Milwaukee is going to give Cleveland some issues.
If they get to Cleveland.
They will get to Cleveland.
Okay.
I told you before, I'll say it again. If they meet up with Boston, I'm taking them over Boston, especially without Gordon Hayward. Now, Boston looks nice without Gordon Hayward, but at the same time, in the 7-game series, I don't feel like Jaylen Brown or just Jason Tatum can just withhold Giannis that long. And to me, their best defender is still Marcus Smart, but he's too little for Giannis. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Now, I understand it's up to the rest of the role players, but we'll talk about that later. We're focused on my MVP right now. 33.7 points, 10.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 1.7 steals, and a block on top of that. Are you serious? Do you understand that he's playing power forward more so this season, which is good. He doesn't have a position. Just understand that this man is shooting 63% from the field. And we always talk about his 3-point shooting. this will most definitely go down. But at the moment, he's shooting 40% from three. Excuse me? Oh no. Giannis, to me, it's no more weaknesses. If he can keep that 40% clip from three, who's going to stop this man? No way. No way. This league is in trouble. And for the fact that he's younger than me, oh, LeBron's best in the East title can be going pretty soon, sooner than we thought. He just brings a lot of hope, man. Not a lot of hope to Milwaukee, and just for me as a fan, because I felt like once LeBron leaves, the East is just going to be so irrelevant. I have to shout out Giannis, man. He's definitely my MVP. You mentioned Blake. Blake has been playing pretty well himself. He's finally become a man. That's what I love about him. He's not soft in the paint no more. He's been playing with power. He's so much better without Chris Paul. I won't go as far as call it the Chris Paul signing a mistake, because they needed somebody to help Blake develop his game. But once he left, we can see now Blake's ready. Blake is ready to be that top 10 player we were expecting him to be. And he's over here hitting game-winning threes now. The passing has been A1. The rebounding has been strong. I've even seen some leadership out of Blake Griffin. I was not expecting that at all. Blake, to me, he makes the Clippers an interesting team. I feel like now you can say it's 5 teams that can get out. I will put them above Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota was ever going to be a team to get out west anyway. But the Clippers, to me, they garner a lot of attention. And the fact that the Clippers are a title contender now, that says it all for that franchise. I don't know. This might be the best opportunity to get out the second round for them. That's all thanks to Blake Griffin.
Rod?
My MVP pick right now is Blake Griffin. Been my guy. Before the season, I said that he would be an MVP candidate because this is his time to shine. And he's been proving me right so far. Averaging 23 points, 8.5 rebounds, shooting 47% from the field. What's really jumped out to me is he's shooting 42% from the three-point line. And with that, he's now unstoppable because he has post-game. He's bullying little guards that are trying to guard him, and he's bringing out big men that are trying to guard him in the post out onto the perimeter. So now he has the full thing. He can pass, he can do it all, he can dribble. He's the real deal. For them to lose one of the all-time best point guards and not miss a beat, I think that deserves a lot of MVP-type consideration for Blake.
I agree. The fact that Blake is shooting how he's shooting is just outstanding. I was saying that don't sleep on his shooting, but what he's come out and done is even more than I expected. For me, it's so hard to choose between Blake and Giannis. They're both playing out of their minds in the East and the West. So it's hard for me to say, but I definitely felt like you guys both hit the nail on the head. Moving over to Rookie of the Year, I think I can outright say who you guys are going to say. It's pretty clear right now who
My guy.
the leader is.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
17.5 points per game, 9.5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. He's hitting on 51.2%. A huge part of the success that the Sixers team has had. They haven't been outstanding, but they've certainly shown that they've made considerable progress and that they're a team to watch in the future. I want to take a second to note, though, a couple of other rookies that have really stepped up. DG, your Bulls, Lauri Markkanen, he's decent. 15.6 points per game, 9.6 rebounds, and he's shooting 41.7 from three. That's a surprise. Jason Tatum for Boston. We're talking about how Boston's been playing pretty well, better than we expected without Gordon Hayward. I think a large part of that can be attributed to the fact that Jason Tatum has already really stepped into that role. 15.2 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, and 50% from three. What do you guys have to say?
You didn't even mention my boy Lonzo.
Lonzo's a disappointment to me.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, the stats are there. But when you actually look at the product, when you watch the games, his shooting is rough, man. 31.1%.
His
28 from 3?
his shooting's rough, but
He's
the
not there for scoring, BT.
Yeah, he's not there for scoring. Hey, the Lakers look like a lot better team with him.
He might not be there for scoring, but the shots that he takes, he should be making.
Yeah, he should.
Maybe he shouldn't be
But he'll
shooting
get-
that many shots.
He'll get better. He'll get better at that. But what he brings to the floor for the Lakers, like the passing and the floor leadership, you can't teach that. And you could clearly see that it's making everyone else around them better. And I think he's a top 5 vote for Rookie of the Year based on that, whether his shooting numbers jump up or not. But obviously, like you said, Ben Simmons, my guy who I picked to be Rookie of the Year, he's looking really good right now.
Well, let's use that as a transition then. Is Lonzo Ball getting too much hate from the other professional basketball players? We saw Pat Bev really give it to him the other night, just going at him. Other players have made remarks too, sort of retaliating from all the hype and hoopla that surrounds LaVar and all the different things that he has said. Does he deserve all of this? I guess you'd call it hate from other NBA players, or is it too much?
Lonzo deserves everything that's coming his direction. Now, disappointment is a strong word, but it's a word that the consensus has been saying about him, so I can't necessarily get mad at you for feeling this way. I mean, 10, 7, and 7 looks good on paper. The shooting percentages, yeah, I can understand what you're saying, BT. Things that I'm disappointed about with him, though, that free throw percentage, 55%? Like, come on. That's just undefendable, man. 10.28 PER. I don't care that you're a rookie. That shows a bench player. But at the same time, this is why I don't feel sorry for him. He's a rookie. He has to go through this. And honestly, as a professional, like if I'm in the league, if you're my opponent, I hate you. I'm not going to give any sort of slack towards you because you're trying to take victory from me. You're trying to get towards my goal. I'm going to say anything I can to disrespect you. I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to chop block. I'm going to foul you on purpose sometimes. I'm doing everything I can. This is a man's league. If words affect Lonzo, he don't need to be here. But they don't. So that's why all this I'm okay with. He can handle it. And he showed mental toughness, and he's just focused on winning and being a leader. And his stats suck right now outside of, the 10, 7, 7. But at the same time, it's what we don't see on the box score that makes him a special player. The Lakers are having a time of their lives. They are really enjoying themselves. It feels like hope is in the building. You have to be honest. The Lakers have looked the most entertaining since Kobe's left. He's going to fill in seats. Lonzo is the ultimate business decision. So you have to keep all that in play. And maybe players are jealous about it. That's why they give him a hard time. But that's their fault.
I disagree because I don't think Lonzo deserves it because he's all quiet and reserved. I think his dad is the one that really deserves all the hate. But NBA players can't really get back at the dad because he's not on the floor. Lonzo is. So they're taking all of their anger out through Lonzo rather than getting it to LaVar. So I really don't think he deserves it in terms of that. But like you said earlier, like he can handle all of that. He said he's lived with his dad his whole life. And his dad's been the same person his whole life. So he can handle it. I'm not too worried about it. I think his stats will come. And the 10, 7, and 7, like, his comparison coming in was Jason Kidd. Like, that's, like, vintage Jason Kidd type numbers. I mean, he'll need to score a little more, but he's not a guy that's going to give you 20 points a night. Like, he'll give you 15, 14, but he'll also give you, like, 13 assists, 12 rebounds, So, and like DG was saying, like, he's one of those guys you actually have to watch play and understand how big of an impact he has on the floor. And once you actually see him play, then you'll realize, oh, wow, he actually is a special basketball player.
Yeah, he has handled himself pretty well. When you look at him as a player, he's cultivated a pretty favorable persona as a dude that just wants to go out there and ball, and I think that's what they want. They want LaVar to be the guy that says whatever, and he's kind of like the hype man, and just let Lonzo go out and play. And I think that's a business strategy that LaVar has kind of put together. And it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. Moving on to the next subject, most improved player from play so far. DG, who you got?
There's so many players I could put in this category, man.
Yeah, it's a tough
That's
one.
the case. I'm gonna take over.
Go ahead.
My most improved player of the NBA right now is Victor Oladipo.
That was my first thought.
I had to beat you to it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I had to beat you to it.
I think
because
right now that's sort of the clear cut guy.
I don't know about
because-
clear cut though.
my big thing with him is everyone just thought that Paul George trade was trash and was a joke. And by the Pacers getting him and Sabonis and what they're doing right now, they're actually doing more than what Paul George would have given them. And Victor Oladipo hit a game-winning shot the other night, something Paul George never did as a Pacer.
He hit one.
Yeah, and Paul George had none.
No, I'm talking about Paul George. He went 1 for 16.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So he hit one.
I read that stat wrong. I read that he never had a game-winning field goal for the Pacers.
I think it was. Go ahead.
Well, that's neither here or there.
Yeah.
But he's averaging 26 points. No one thought that he would be, a number one type player, but that's what he's shown so far. And playing behind Russ last year, I guess he learned some things, and he didn't really have that great of a season behind Russ. But now that he's in Indiana and really has a chance to showcase his talent, he's doing such a great job. And averaging 26 points, that's my most improved player right now.
Yeah, man. I'm not even mad at you about that because, well, Oladipo, he is better as a first option. I think that's what it shows. He was restricted to a degree in Orlando. He was brought in to be a third option for KD and Russ before KD left. And even then, him being second fiddle to Russ, we know that didn't work. Oladipo is a guy that needs to be the guy. He has to have the most touches. He has to really own the perimeter. I know Miles Turner is their future. That's who they want to be the face. But, when it comes to a big and a wing, that marriage is just perfect. And you don't really have to worry about anybody interfering with each other because they're supposed to complement each other. Oladipo, man, you already said majority, and I'm just happy for the brother. I'm just saying don't overlook a lot of these guys who have really stepped up. Think about Porzingis and what he's doing without Carmelo finally. I would look at what Otto Porter is doing, who is really, really becoming a third guy for Washington that is highly impressive. His shooting numbers are ridiculous. 52% from 3, 56% overall, 18. That's a good jump. Heck, you can look at Giannis. I mean, he's not in that MIP discussion no more. He's MVP. But if we just talk about improvement, we know what he's been very, very improved. I'm just saying so many players in the league got better. And if we want to stay true to the award, yeah, a guy like Oladipo would win that. But only because the guys that we are also seeing step up were projected to be stars. And they're finally breaking out. But that's what the award is supposed to be about. The next star, who's going to take over. Giannis is doing too good. Porzingis, to me, if he's not getting MVP, which he won't, he'll be right up there with that because the league has been waiting to build him as a star as well. I'm just saying it ain't no cakewalk for the MIP this year.
One quick topic to finish off NBA. David Stern said this week that marijuana should be off of the ban list for banned drugs in the NBA. I just want to get your guys' thoughts on that real quick. Do you agree, disagree, or you think it probably doesn't matter considering that they don't really even drug test?
Yeah, I was going to say they should take it off because it doesn't really matter. And you know me, I'm the biggest supporter of that. So I feel like they should just take it off. They don't even drug test for it, really. And if they do, it's just like a slap on the wrist. It's not like the NFL and how big of a deal that they make it. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to me.
DG?
Would they be the first major sport to take marijuana off a ban list if they did so?
I would absolutely think so.
I would
I don't
think
have
so.
like a concrete fact in front of me to tell you that they would be the first, but I would think that they would be. I mean, the NBA is the most progressive league of all of them.
Of course, and to me, if they do that, it just proves that point once again. Me personally, I don't care. You'd be a fool to think these guys ain't smoking weed. Come on now. We seen. Well, no, I'm not even going to say all that because this is going to allegations as opposed to facts. I'm just going to say you're a fool if you think nobody's smoking weed in the league. I don't smoke weed. I personally feel like people could live without it, but they don't want to. But I'm not. It's not crack. So I'm like, go ahead, do them. Just don't pass me the blunt. Go ahead, do y'all, man.
I mean, we could get into a debate about that another day. We could have a whole show about that. But Rod, you said you had a story about what some pastime NBA players were talking about with weed, right?
Yeah, Steven Jackson came out, and there was an ESPN story about it a couple years back on how him, Baron Davis, and Don Nelson used to, you know, toke it up together and stuff. And
Don Nelson.
yeah, and Don Nelson came out and would tell them whenever the last drug test was, and they would celebrate in the locker room and stuff. So this is a real thing, dude. This is ESPN story.
In the locker room.
In the locker room, dude. They would
Celebrate the last drug test.
the last drug test, and I guess they would go and take care of that after.
That's so funny.
Oh.
And you think if they come out with that story, they can't be the only ones, right?
Exactly.
No, I changed my mind. Keep that band. Nah.
It would be interesting. It would be a huge step for marijuana advocates if the NBA were to do that. Things are already sort of moving in that direction, but that would definitely be a big step. The NFL is way too strict with their policies on that. It's ridiculous how much trouble some NFL players can get in.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're professionals, so you know the job that you're walking into. It's not like you're just unaware about the type of league it is, and if you can't find a way to just let it go, that's your fault.
Here-
So
Here's the
that's too much money to be risking over some damn weed.
here's the actual quote. This is gonna make you guys laugh. All right, so this is from Steven Jackson, and this is what he's telling the ESPN reporter. We're in Utah, and the league's drug test people are around, to get our last drug test so we can smoke, right? Don Nelson, we talked about weed all the time. He was cool with talking about weed. We got our last test in Utah, right? So me and teammate Baron Davis are coming out the locker room just screaming, excited with our last pink slip saying we could smoke for the rest of the season. And Don Nelson hauls ass down there, giving us high fives like, yeah, we can smoke now. Jackson recalled.
That's snitching. Oh God.
All those guys are out the league now, though.
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
This came out while they're all retired.
Yeah.
but,
I know.
But isn't that crazy?
There's a lot of athletes
funny
that
as
say
shit.
that it aids them just with working out and recovery.
Yeah.
Ricky Williams, he opened up his own gym that is like a weed-based gym out in San Francisco.
Sure did.
That's
I remember
lit.
that.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future, like the constant, I wouldn't say struggle, but the relationship of athletes and marijuana. Moving over into the NFL, we'll start today. We're getting into that kind of season where we're starting to talk about Super Bowl contestants, starting to look at what teams we think are going to go deep, possibly go all the way, and got some surprises this year. I'm going to go first, but I want to hear from you guys. If you had to pick two Super Bowl teams right now and the winner, who would it be? For me, and I know you guys are going to argue with me, and I like that, I got Eagles Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles are going to pull it off.
What?
Yes. Carson Wentz, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, he's on the come up. That man is good.
I like the Eagles, but I think they're a year off from making that next level. I think they'll make the playoffs this year. They're obviously the number one seed in the league right now. And I think they'll make the playoffs, obviously, and get pretty far, maybe lose conference finals. But I don't think that they'll win the Super Bowl. I think they'll get there, and then next year they can make that next level jump and win the Super Bowl.
I disagree with both of you in my own little way. One, I do believe they're going to make the Super Bowl. I just can't deny that offense. Really love that offense. I feel like Carson's probably going to be regular season MVP, but they ain't winning nothing. They're not beating the Patriots. They're not beating the Chiefs. No, I don't see it. If they played against the Steelers, I don't think they're beating the Steelers. No, they're not winning the title. I don't see that at all.
It's gonna be the Chiefs. The Patriots defense. If the Chiefs play the Patriots in the playoffs, that defense is gonna get torn up.
Yeah, Pats aren't going anywhere.
The Pats offense can be as good as it can be with what they have, considering the receivers that they've lost, but that defense is going to be the downfall of that team.
Hey, I'm just hoping Kansas City gets the first seed. We get on the road because we undefeated on the road. But in all seriousness, man, look, doubting the Patriots is like doubting the Spurs for me. You really just can't do so. You actually gotta watch it happen. No matter how they look in the regular season.
And we're gonna watch it this year, cause they're trash.
Well, a lot of people, yeah.
The Patriots, I feel like they're getting by right now. Yeah, they're 6-2, but they don't look 6-2, if that makes sense.
No, I understand that. But to me, that's so much experience to just write off completely. To me, the Patriots is just like how you say Cleveland just need to get to the playoffs. That's good enough for me. If they could get the Patriots, if they could get to the playoffs, they could beat anybody.
Oh yeah.
To me, Kansas City,
So what's your Super Bowl pick? That's what BT asked.
Patriots and Eagles, and I feel like it's gonna be an offensive ass game, and I feel like the Patriots are gonna pull it out.
The Eagles have a good defense.
Yeah, but the Patriots have Tom Brady. That's okay.
I
And
think
Bill Belichick.
I would just say that the Patriots can do the most offensively, and the Chiefs are going to be able to pace them with the offense that they have and how bad the Patriots defense is. The Eagles defense only has to make a couple of big stops to give that team the dub in a game like that.
Yeah, the Patriots actually they're on pace to be one of the worst defenses ever.
I get that. I don't get me wrong. I get that. Our defense is trash. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. I understand it.
And speaking about that,
Oh,
it's my
dang.
turn.
All right, Rod.
My two Super Bowl picks is completely different from you guys. I have the Saints versus the Steelers in the Super Bowl. The New Orleans Saints right now, they're division leaders in the South. That's one team you don't want to see in the playoffs. Drew Brees is one of the best ever at QB. All he needs is an average defense. He won a Super Bowl with an average defense, and this team right now is playing better than average on the defensive end. They have their shutdown corner and rookie Marshawn Lattimore, and that kid's a stud. They can stay healthy. They have as good a shot as beating anyone in the NFC. Drew Brees, he's been playing off to his standards, honestly, and they're 5-2 right now. Once he picks it back up and the defense is playing well, that's a scary, scary team. And then on the other side, I mean, the Steelers are Steelers. Like you said, you can't write off the Patriots, you can't write off the Steelers either. And I feel like they have a lot of turmoil right now, but I feel like it's kind of like a Cinderella story for them. Like, they have a lot of turmoil right now. You know, they have the Martavius Bryant stuff, but they got a stud rookie in Juju Smith. He's a stud. And now they have a guy to complement AB. Can't forget about Le'Veon either. So if they stay healthy too, that's a scary, scary team that I wouldn't want to see.
Is the Jay Ajayi pickup for the Eagles not enough for you?
Jay Ajayi, he adds another element to them. But the Eagles, their defense is really lacking. Their defense isn't as good as advertised. But they have a great front line, though. But their secondary is, especially in the playoffs, if you have inexperience at secondary, that's the thing with the Eagles. I think they have a lot of inexperience, and I think that could hurt them in the playoffs. They have a lot of, like, even Carson Wentz, like, he's playing like an MVP, but playoff lights and regular season lights are completely different.
Agreed.
So we'll see how they do there. And I mean, even like none of us mentioned the Seahawks. None of us mentioned.
That's what I was gonna say. The NFC, I think, is so much less clear cut than the AFC.
Yeah,
The
like-
teams at the top of the AFC, I was about to say it's kind of like the East West in the NBA. I don't think it's that much of a difference. Like that would be pretty serious. But the NFC, you can't count out the Seahawks. You can't count out the Rams. You can't count out
anyone in the NFC East but the Giants. I mean, the Cowboys, if they get hot.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard for the Redskins to battle back, but yeah. And the Cowboys, I mean, the NFC East, I think, is the most clear cut of those divisions just because the Cowboys, if that suspension on Zeke doesn't get appealed, the NFLPA appealed it today. And right now, he's not going to be able to play for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah,
it
that
might
hurts.
work out.
That hurts.
But if Zeke doesn't play, the Eagles are going to have a pretty easy road to leading that division. The more undistinct variables are Seahawks, Rams, and Vikings, Lions, I think.
Nah,
No?
I think the Vikings is about to wrap that up.
You know,
Really?
I just can't count out the Lions.
No,
yet.
you can't count out the Lions.
And
yet.
I agree with you, though. I definitely think that the Vikings have a major jump on them right now. And the Vikings are good. And people aren't talking about them enough.
But they're also a team that can slip and lose like 3 straight and just be right back in the middle of the pack. Because
Yeah.
last year they started out 5-0.
And that's why
true. That's
the
true.
Lions still have a shot.
And the Packers too. I mean, if they could win a couple of these games until Aaron Rodgers gets back,
Mm-hmm.
because he's done this before, gone out with the broken collarbone, and they just stayed afloat. And he came back and brought him to the playoffs. So,
But
even the Packers, I wouldn't count him out.
the Saints, they're going to have a tough road in the NFC South. They got to play well for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They can't skid like they did at the beginning of the season because the Panthers are right on their tail. The Falcons have been one of the biggest disappointments of the season, but they're still there, 4-3. That's just one game out. So the NFC is interesting. I mean, the NFL in general, it's been, I think, one of the best seasons in a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
This has been a good season in terms of balance of teams and stuff like that.
Competition.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next topic, we'll talk a little bit more about the Martavis Bryant situation in Pittsburgh. So, he's been all over the place. One moment on social media, we think he wants to trade. The next moment, he seems all right. But what it's come down to is basically he's not happy with his targets. And I think he's a little bit jealous at the success that Juju has had. So he came out and said that. He said he wanted to trade, and Coach Mike Tomlin said, no, we've invested too much in you, and threw him down onto the practice squad for a week to kind of say, like, learn your lesson, give him some sort of humility there. He says that he's back into the fold this week. He should be back into that offense, and we'll see if things change. But what's your guys' take on this situation?
I think he's just hating on Juju and the targets that Juju's been getting. Those are like his type of targets because Antonio Brown, he's gonna get his 10 to 15 targets per game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was a little just salty about it. And if they can get him back right, and they have those 3 receivers with Antonio Brown, Big Ben's really gonna have to step up and really prove that he has one last run because this team is insanely scary if they have 3 receivers of that talent with Le'Veon Bell.
I feel like Martavius needs to find a way to get up out of there. I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger is the right quarterback for him at Ben's stage of career anymore. That arm is just looking pretty bad when it comes to deep throws now. Yeah, I agree that he's hating on Juju, but at the same time, to me, Juju proved that he deserves everything coming to him. Martavius, he is such a disappointment on my fantasy team. To me, they have so many issues. To me, it would just be better if they solved it by getting rid of him. I know they invested a lot. They should probably trade for a pick or something like that and send him to a place where they could really appreciate his talent, like maybe Detroit.
Deadline's over. He's
Well,
he's stuck there.
I'm talking about after the season.
Oh, okay.
But like to me, him and Detroit would probably be better off if he could find a way in Philly, that'd be pretty nice. Go somewhere where well, hey, the Carolina Panthers got rid of
Kelvin Benjamin.
Kelvin Benjamin, so I know they need somebody. You go somewhere where you can have that number one shine, or if not just number one, somebody that's going to appreciate you as a deep threat. Other than that, I don't see how he can help.
So one last question for the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay, I just love that guy's attitude. X's and O's, savvy, swagger, and an all-star coaching staff. I wouldn't say that the Rams are the best team in the league. I went over who my Super Bowl picks are, but I would argue that the Rams are the most complete team in the NFL. What would you guys think?
I think that this argument was sold to you before that Jay Ajayi trade for the Eagles. I think the Eagles may be a more complete team now because they have the better quarterback. And they have the better quarterback, but which is the most important position.
Mm-hmm.
And their defensive line can sort of compete with the Rams' defensive line. But their secondary doesn't stand out much more than the Eagles does. So to me, it would be like sort of those two teams.
It would be between. Yeah, I agree. The Rams' offensive line, that left tackle Whitworth, he's really good. I think that their offensive line might. The Eagles' offensive line is good, but I think the Rams.
The
is
Eagles
a little bit
lost
better.
a lot on their offensive line, though. They lost their guy
Jason Peters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that loss shouldn't be understated because that's going to be big for them.
Yeah, but other than that, I can't really think off the top of my head who's more complete than those two. I mean, you could add in the Chiefs.
Yeah.
There are another team that you could, have in that conversation as most complete team. And I mean, there's a lot of teams on paper that you would think that they're complete teams, like the Raiders, but they just don't produce, And there's multiple teams like that. But one team that we should look out for over the next few weeks that has become a legitimately scary football team is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can sort of figure out that Blake Bortles situation, and if he just plays okay the rest of the season, and if not, draft a quarterback or sign one, a guy like Kirk Cousins or something, that's a football team that's going to scare a lot of people because that defense is real. I think they have the best defense in the league.
I agree. I don't think it's happening this year, though. It's just going to be too difficult for them. They could win that division and get into the playoffs, but if they get into the playoffs, they just don't have the firepower. They have a great defense, but
their defense scores for them, though. That's huge. And if they could get a guy like Bortles to just not turn the ball over, just move the ball down the field, get good field position, because no one's really going to score on that defense like that,
Yeah.
So all he has to do is just really, honestly, just game manage. If he can game manage, then that's a scary, scary team.
Yeah. I was hating on the AFC, but, you got teams like that. You got teams like them and the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills are, if I had a surprise team, they're probably at the top as well.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about them a few shows ago. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams just have done such a great job of building through the last couple of years. And it just seems like they've all kind of come to fruition this year. And that's sort of what's made it so exciting is all these new teams coming out and really showing the work that they put in pay off on the field. So that'll do it for sports. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. BT, LaFlare, Hot Rod, and Dee Greatest. We've got our hip-hop segment also up on our website. Make sure you go over and check that out. Give us some feedback. Let us know. Comment what you think, some things that we might be missing, some things that we can improve. And get on our social media on Instagram and Facebook at LaFlare_media. We've got a lot of really great content on there if you're missing out on it. You don't want to miss out because things are only going to get better. We're on the come up. Make sure that you're letting people know. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and have a great week.